kind of changed tune in your ways.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nope, you're fine.
All right, since I wasn't able to be here at the last meeting, I want to congratulate Ron Tarigny on his reappointment and welcome Evelyn to the board. First order of business, we have any guests or visitors here tonight? And I guess we have no public comment. We'll go to approval of minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the December.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Commodore. We have a second.
Second.
Any errors or omissions? Mr. Basai.
The minutes reflect that I moved the minutes from the prior meeting, and that's not the case. I believe Eric did. Eric Olson moved them. Check the records. Check the tape.
Do we have any objection to changing the maker of the motion to Eric? If not, we'll vote to approve them with that change.
Change me one.
So we have a motion moved and seconded. Any other comments? If not, Tammy, can you call the vote?
No pressure, Tammy, no pressure.
It's on.
Come on, I was in charge of that. That's like...
Julie, you look different over there.
Just me, you, Mr. Columbus, and Dr. Rigby.
Oh, can you bring it up?
Hold on, Mr. Turgney's trying to get there.
You want me to filter?
Up on the screen, so you can see.
Oh, okay.
Donnie?
All right.
Yep, give me one
Mr.
second.
Columbus, how are you voting?
I abstain.
I got you.
I abstain.
Yep.
No, that's your email address.
Okay, what was the motion passed?
Donnie,
Yep,
can you bring this up on the screen? It passed.
Yep,
Well,
as
yes,
soon as I
it's
figure out how to
0,
use a
no, 3
computer.
abstentions.
Okay. All right, let's go to the superintendent's report. Mr. Brown?
Okay.
That
Before we
one.
get to the report, I'll make sure, you don't know, it's the chairman's birthday tonight. Night. So, we're not going to light this, because you can't light a flame inside school or anything like that.
So John, you same age as Biden?
That's gonna hurt.
Katie just baked it. Good job, Katie. Well done.
Decorated it myself.
Nice. Okay.
All right, thank you.
No problem. And little help tonight. Sorry, I know you're trying to do a couple things at the same time.
Why we got this? All right, give me 1 second.
There we go.
You got it?
I helped you.
Nice work
Oh,
there.
sorry.
All right. A couple things to go over. So, if you recall,
Did she
our
change her
partner
task?
with the
Anything else that she-
Young Adults with Disabilities Grant, CAPS, had approached us in the fall saying they enjoyed the event so much. They said, could we partner with you again? CAPS said they were going to pay for it, because obviously we didn't have a grant for a fall event or anything like that. And maybe it's just do a mini version, kind of like almost like an exploratory version of the program. And we said, sure, we'll see if we can get instructors. We did get enough instructors and everything else. So it was shorter, it was just 4 weeks. They did 4 programs: culinary daycare assistant, kind of a data entry office assistant placement, and they went out and did pet care out at the vet clinic. Ended up just like before, an excellent program, kids getting great experience. So in early December, they completed their program, which we were very excited about. The folks, there's about 2 or 3 kids that were missing that we don't have their pictures for, but once again, just, it was really nice. Each kid came up and talked about what their thought, what their best, I keep calling kids, young adults, came up and said what their favorite part of the program was, and it was just wonderful. The young man, second from the left on the top, talked really at heart about how he never felt like he had a role or something to do, and that this program, as short as it was, gave him something, and he was excited to try and move on with it and everything else. So it's just one more example of how this STEP program does a fantastic job. Taryn DeVito on the top right and Mindy LeBlanc from CAPS with all the students once again ran the program, and it went very well. So because things went so well, we had planned it already, we had said it at the graduation, we said, well, we're going to apply for the grant when it formally comes out. So last December we did, and literally yesterday we got the report back that we have received the grant once again. Very excited for $132,900. So basically we will do it all over again. What we did last spring. We'll repeat this year. Since we literally just received it, we'll have to come up with a calendar that we have. We'll do the usual, because we've only done it one at a time, the 9 weeks of hands-on training. They'll get a week where they kind of focus on resume work and that kind of thing. And then we'll look at job placement. So very excited. Again, grant comes through Comcor. CAPS is focused up there because they've been a great partner. But I should emphasize that we're going to be looking around. Vicki had some nice ideas of some other agencies, some other schools that we might be able to take a look at to try to get some other additional folks involved in it. So we're just really looking forward to it. It's just, again, giving an opportunity for workforce training for students and young adults who often are ignored. So we're really proud of this one. Once again, to our knowledge, we're the only vocational school that applied for the grant. So again, something to be really proud of. So looking forward to do that. Building community partnerships. This is mostly because I just want to be able to tell a really nice story, but December 5th, which was every day after December 5th, like people were walking up and checking my pulse and my temperature because I had actually called a snow day, which I almost never do. I was kind of forced into it, but anyhow. But it was the day, it was of our snow day. We had a scheduled, the folks for North Central Massachusetts Chamber of Commerce, they had this group called the Community Leadership Institute. And there's the folks in the bottom left-hand corner there are the various members. And it's a group of about 30, I'm not even going to say young, it's a variety of ages, but mostly kind of towards the newer group, working for different companies around the area. They're recommended to be part of this group, and then they kind of have different workshops and different presentations. So I have been invited along with Don Hodge on my left, but from here it's on my right, who's the president of Fitchburg State. Ms. Conroy, who's on the other side, is the director for My Turn, which is another great workforce training program. And the focus was basically about leadership in education and workforce training. And the story I wanted to tell was it got to the point where they were offered the opportunity to ask questions. And the first person, it's always going to be who the first person is going to say. He says, well, I don't really have a question, but I have a comment for Mr. Brown. And I'll admit, my immediate reaction was, look out, cookout, here it comes. The woman started to talk about how she came from Lunenburg with her daughter, that her daughters had struggled all the way through the Lunenburg public schools. And then she went to Montachusett, and she spoke wonderfully about the special education staff, student support services, that she had seen a 180-degree turnaround for her daughter, that she couldn't thank Montachusett enough for all the things that we do and how we do it. She started crying. I'm holding back the tears and everything else. The whole room was holding back the tears. She's been recognized by the chamber. She has a public relations company in Leominster. So it was really nice to have an opportunity where a nice public group and a leadership group of 30 upcoming leaders in industry around here hearing the wonderful things that we do, because I don't think people get to hear that often. So it was a great opportunity, a great partnership, and we look forward to doing it again. It came up last meeting about the auto-body renovation. I had mentioned at the time that we've been working on this process for quite a while. Again, if you recall, last summer The HVAC union in the state filed a complaint, the protest with the AG's office about the way that our original posting was for the first booth. And basically what the conclusion that the Attorney General's office came from is that the way that ours was structured, which we had somebody else write it for us, but the way it was structured, it really only allowed a certain number of companies to apply, because it really said you needed to have specific training and experience with this one type of booth. GFS was the type of booth that it was. So they said, listen, we're going to ask you guys to repost it, re-put the bid out again. We've reorganized that and everything else, and we've had the bid out for a while, but just so everybody knows the basic timeline. And I should say, again, as I said at the last meeting, the instructors were part of this conversation back in the fall. They've been great supporters of it. I know they're very anxious to get it done. Remember, this is all from the money that we had from the Donnelly grant. Katie's been a nice job working with the folks at the state to say, hey, listen, we had a little hiccup. Can we just still use the money on a different year? They were fine with that. The site visit, if they want to come out to visit, is actually tomorrow. We're not sure. I'm not sure if there's anyone coming. Tammy, do we know if anyone's coming yet?
They arrange it through CAT.
Okay, all right. Okay, the person who helped us write it. Yes, sir.
Is this added to the two existing booths we already have, or is this replacing?
This will replace. Yeah,
Which
yeah.
of the two?
So the funny thing is, if you've been in the shop, if you're coming in from the outside, from the garage door, the booth to the right is actually, that's the newer booth than the one that's right in front of you.
Okay.
They prefer the one in front of them. They have more trouble with the newer one. So we'll decide which one we're going to clear out. Obviously, the size of the booth is going to be a single booth, but it's a larger booth. But they're going to gain some space in the shop, not as much as it would have been if we were able to do the outside booths, obviously. But they're looking forward to at least having some additional space. So we'll have to see how that goes. So hopefully we can go through the bid process really quickly. We'll open them up and we'll see what happens. And what we had talked about in the fall is, maybe we have to close up auto body. Maybe we close up a little bit early in May. Nothing too early, but the seniors are already gone, kind of thing. And we get some early head start to do the replacement over the summer. So that's the goal. Very quickly, because we had brought this up last year, and it's just, once again, a wonderful supporter of our LPN, our PN students, Donna Byron from Phillipston, had reached out to Dr. Corrado, who's our director, and Katie Whitaker, and she has the experience with the foundation and everything else, saying, I want to help some non-traditional students, not necessarily the daytime students, what might be able to do. And, we've talked about this before, but there's a whole lot of kids who are young adults in the nurse program that struggle with, what life is about all the time. So she said, listen, why don't you identify a group of students who could use some additional help. You can see what the requirements were. They have to demonstrate a financial need, make sure they don't have any specific reach. She was looking to be helping people that are doing kind of this program or this kind of effort for the first time, making sure that they're moving along academically in terms of the progress, and making sure that they're self-supporting, that they're not independent of somebody else. She said, listen, I'll go up to $500 per person, and ended up, she was able to give an award to 17 of the folks in the program, which is just fantastic. So very, very nice donation, very kind work, and she says she hopes to continue this as kind of an annual thing. So very proud of that, very happy with that. Updates at 270. I swear this time we're really close. So we're down to doing some of the finished work. So top left, I had mentioned in December, we had worked out with, that's actually the crew from Worcester Tech. Worcester Tech has a Chapter 74 painting program. We reached out to them, said, hey, what do you think about coming up here? The guy said, love to. And they have been fantastic. They are blowing through the building, doing a great job with painting all throughout the building. You see the top middle picture there, that is not a wet floor. That is our new floor that our guys had put together. Did a fantastic job on that. So that's the electrical shot. Where the wood is there, right now they're installing the booths. So electrical, knock on wood, should be near, we still have to bring all the equipment down because it's in bins up here. But that should be nearly done by the end of this week, we're hoping, starting next week. You can see the long hallway going out to the back door, and then at the bottom half, you can see that's right by the main entrance. So we still got to do a little bit of board there, but we're almost done with the board there. We have folks that are going to be painting it and everything else. So we're moving along. You can see, I'm not going to go through and bullet, but what's coming up. But I will say we are hoping, and we feel good about being done by February break and doing the grand opening right after February break. So that's the plan. Yes, sir.
So when would the student be going there? I mean, in the meantime, how are you catering or providing services for them here? So you have no room to begin
Yeah,
with.
so let's see which slide it is. So, top pictures right there. Those are actually the MVP students. And so what we decided to do was, hey, we've given them some basic skills. We're finishing the renovations. Why don't we let them help be people who are actually finishing up where they're going to be working?
Yeah.
So they've been down there. They're not doing, some of the major things, although today, as a matter of fact, they were helping hang some board. So it's a fantastic
Heating and
thing.
everything there?
Oh, there's heating down there. That HVAC system's been done for a while now. So they're fine temperature-wise and everything else. So, yes, sir.
The MVP students are being housed here presently?
No. What I'm saying is, they start up here. They'll start in the morning. They'll do a related class first thing in the morning. Then they get advanced. They go down and they're helping out down at the facility.
How are they getting to Monty Tech from their feeder school?
Same way they've been doing it all year long, is they can either get on our bus, because our bus goes right through their town. We've told them what's the closest bus stop for them to get onto. Or they drive. We did give them a section for parking up here up front.
Are the MVP students presently taking parking spaces from Monty Tech students?
They're taking parking spaces. I don't know if we necessarily say they're taking parking students from specifically parking students.
I got a call from a parent complaining that their student couldn't have parking here. They had a student that goes to school here, and they said MVP kids are parking here, but my son, who has a job, cannot park here.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics about individual kids. If you want to send us the name, we can kind of check it out and see if we can figure it out. Because we actually, if you remember, the whole idea was to expand the student lot and back. Westminster said we had to install a pond, and we were not going to be installing any ponds for that. So we're still hoping, once we can empty out the bins that have all the equipment, we're going to take all the bins off of those spots that are already paved and turn that into more parking spaces.
But Monty Tech students are to receive priority for parking over MVP kids?
Yes, but we have specific parking. I don't know necessarily an individual kid what the situation is or anything like that. We had picked a spot that had never been given to students before. It was technically faculty parking.
We did not take away
Yeah.
student parking from Monty Tech
Yes.
students to allow MVP students to park. It's additional parking that's there. Parking has been an issue for many, many years because we need additional parking areas.
And it continues to be an issue, right?
We're hoping to get more, to
Yes.
get more.
Yeah.
So many students are driving now, it's crazy.
So we still don't have enough parking for Monty Tech students right now?
No,
Not every student that applies for a
every
permit is
student-
getting one,
Correct.
but we're allowing MVP students to find parking spots.
I'd like to say that MVP students are also our students as we're actually their vocational training, so every other week they are here.
Yes, sir.
If a student commits a fraction, they lose the privilege of parking permit?
Yes.
We have
Would that be
guidelines
it?
around the
Based
parking.
on
So there are
discipline issue?
consequences, it could be loss of parking if they're driving recklessly or if they're not following.
Yeah, excessive tardies.
There are very specific rules governing that, like
Yes.
juniors can't park without reason, where seniors a little bit given more latitude, right? So you have a lot of rules to help manage that, if I'm not mistaken.
The person
So it actually works really well.
The person that spoke to me, there wasn't a disciplinary issue. The person that spoke to me has two students who go to school at Monty Tech, and they both have jobs after school, and neither one of them could be granted a parking permit.
Yeah,
But I'll-
depending
I'll
when
have-
students get licensed and stuff, and then we eventually run out. But certainly, I mean, obviously, if parents have an issue, they can contact us. That doesn't mean we absolutely are going to have a spot, but we do have a wait list for students, and students apply and we'll put on wait list if they didn't have a spot. And as more students go out on co-op, it will alleviate some parking on campus and will issue more parking.
That was one of the other issues she brought up, was that when she asked, where is my student on the wait list, they couldn't find out.
Okay, well, have them contact me.
Yeah, and if we can open up those spots that we're gonna create, that will get us, we're hoping, at least another 40 more spots. So that should help out.
And when do you anticipate that happening?
Like I said, we have to empty those bins because it's filled with all the tools and equipment that are going down there, so we should be opening that up. Those should be emptying up pretty soon, so next few weeks.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so other stuff with MVP. So again, the students are working down there, doing a fantastic job, and like I said, we are definitely moving along, so we're happy about that.
Last question on MVP. Reference to, I remember at the beginning, we were talking about the MVP students and Montachusett students, and there was an issue with one of the MVP students a while back, a disciplinary issue situation, and I think someone said, they're sending town takes care of the discipline, not us. So has that been remedied, or is there specific rules regarding that?
So the reason we have them, that what it is if it's a discipline situation, we address it as it happens. Then we turn it over to the student, turn it over to the sending district. Because technically, they are enrolled in those schools, so they need to be disciplined using their school handbook. So the discipline is determined by the sending districts. But we handle the immediate infraction and then pass it along to the sending district. Because we can't just like give them our consequence because they're, technically they're going by the handbook.
Well, they call them roll, technically.
Technically, but it's cleaner if we kind of say that they're, technically going by with that. All right, so one thing I do have to let everybody know that is a concerning situation, and it was kind of started last time we had our last meeting. We had met, in fact, to talk about what Mr. Campbell was just talking about. We had met with the sending districts to talk about some discipline, how we're going to change things and address some of the issues. And it was pointed out that we were all waiting for the after dark application process so we could apply for the plumbing program. Remember, the idea is apply and get the plumbing program for this coming fall. We had kept checking the After Dark website looking for the After Dark program applications. So just after we had that meeting, we reached out, called our point of contact about After Dark, and he said, well, actually, I am not the point of contact anymore. I said, oh, okay, nobody told us that. So we reached out to the new point of contact, and she informed us that the application process had actually already started and the window was closing. We said, well, wait a second, where was this information? Why didn't we know anything about this? And they let us know, well, we sent it out in a newsletter. The CCT office sends out a monthly newsletter. It usually talks about, Essex Techs and has added a veterinary program, something like that. But anyhow, so if you can see right here, this is the newsletter posting that allegedly we were supposed to think was an After Dark program. You see it says updated new program approval process. Well, a new program approval is, let's say Monty Tech, when we added vet science, that's what's considered a new program in the vocational world. We would have never assumed that that was for After Dark. We kept checking the After Dark page, and there was nothing on the After Dark page. The October, I'm sorry, that's the September, make sure I can't see it. This time again, they still called about the CT new program. They did talk about, and I talked to you guys about this last week, they did talk about partnership program. We didn't know that they had switched it to partnership program. I told you about that at the December meeting, that we just found out that it had been switched to partnership program. So again, nobody was looking for it to see if that's what it was. It also talks about how the DESI website is going to be updated. We were checking that After Dark page every single day, and nothing was changing. Nothing was being updated or anything like that. Then in October, once again, they put something out, and again, it talks about new career technical education program applications, innovation pathways. Neither of those are After Dark programs, so we never even thought about looking. So I put together a report that I sent into DESI and said, and these are some of the bullets, and again, I'm not going to read everything, but the fact that you guys changed the name of the program and you never sent anything out telling everybody about that. that the After Dark webpage has been there this entire time, and never on the After Dark webpage does it say the application process has started. So we had no idea. The reality is, technically, the applications are not done by Montachusett. The applications are written by the sending districts. The sending districts are not vocational districts. Why would the sending districts be looking for the vocational page? Because they don't get this newsletter. They'd have to literally go looking for it in order to find it. And the big thing that I also added was, listen, the reality is, a big deal like applying for After Dark programs, you think you should be putting that out on a separate web page and not sticking it in the middle of a newsletter. So I wrote this up. I'm not necessarily going to read the whole thing, but what you can basically see is what I emphasized is the simple reason that preventing the establishment of the MVP plumbing program only has one effect. It simply results in the loss of workforce training for 40 to 44 students from Fitchburg, Gardner, and Narragansett, many of whom are members of special populations. This doesn't hurt us if they don't let us apply for this program. It's hurting these 40, 44 students. I also added to them that this is not a situation, again, this is not fighting over a competitive grant. This is just approving an application for a program that already exists. We're already running, it's not new. To be honest, when we submit the application, we're going to cross out house carpentry, put in plumbing, and send it in pretty much. So we sent that along. Oops, let's skip there, a little too quick there. So at the bottom, so I did send the report in, and I sent it to the Associate Commissioner, Liz Bennett. She's the Commissioner for Vocational Education. And what she said back was at this time we can discuss future project planning, scaling up the programs, which I took as a positive, that she's kind of saying, all right, we can talk about scaling up to add on the plumbing program. I did speak with her today. She did talk about that. So what they want to do is they want to come out to the facility, see where we are, because what she wants to make sure is there a foundation in place and that there aren't any roadblocks? Well, yeah, we have a foundation. We've been working on this for a year. I think there's going to be a foundation in place. I think we're going to be okay. And yes, we're going to be on time. That certainly for the fall that we're going to be able to start this. I should also point out, I don't want to overlook, I sent a survey out to all the other vocational districts and asked, how many of you applied for an After Dark program this year? 2. One applied, and they actually got rejected because their program is on the declining program list, so they weren't allowed. The other one only applied just for a planning grant, which means they haven't even picked their shops. They just wanted to explore the idea of doing an After Dark program. My conclusion is that either no one knew that they were supposed to be applying, or we're just doing a really bad job of advertising After Dark programs. So hopefully this is going to work out. I'm going to schedule a meeting for the visit for them to come out the end of this month so they can walk through the facility. And hopefully we're still going to be all set. I think the idea of the fact that if they don't allow us to do this, that's just going to hurt the kids. I think that's sticking with them, and I think they're going to get that. But hopefully it's going to be a non-issue. Sorry, sir.
I'm going to suggest, if you haven't already done it,
Yep.
you really should reach out to the mayor of Fitchburg, mayor of Gardner, the school, the chair of the Templeton School
Yep.
Committee, because they should voice their displeasure with
Sure.
the fact they weren't notified.
Yep. Yep. No, that's good. Yep. So, sorry. Jeez, I haven't been on it all.
It's in their hands.
A while ago, I had asked for a financial accounting of the program, the MVP program. I haven't seen one.
Yeah, we like I said, the only thing we're waiting for is just I sent an email to Eric. We're going to try to schedule a finance committee meeting so we can go through it. So I'm just
Okay.
we'll go through it there. Yeah,
Okay.
and then we'll bring it out to everybody too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tammy's been keeping everything going. So.
Last question, Tom, on this.
Yep.
You said, other than us, I know Greater Lowell was doing with Lowell High School. You said there was another school. Is there any other school besides us and Greater Lowell? I thought one other school was doing this as well.
So there's 9 existing After Dark programs.
Okay.
3 of them are comprehensive districts. The other 6, so it's Greater Lawrence, us, Essex. I'm not going to remember the other couple ones.
Yeah, okay.
But, so there are some that are doing it.
But these are funded for, I forgot now, is it every year we get funded for this for X number
Well,
of years?
you have to apply for separate grants to get that. So what we did is, we got the CEC grant, we got the capital skills grant, those kind of things. So to get yourself up and going, yeah, you need to do that grant work and everything else. So, I'll keep everybody updated on where we stand on this. Like I said, I'm trying to stay positive and assume we're going to be all set. Last but not least, we did want to remind you, we had shared this information. Vicki had worked with the folks from MAVA, and I don't know the name of the person from the Railers, I forget.
Paul O'Leary. I actually worked with the Railers first and then introduced them to MAVA because they wanted us to take the lead on a career tech night. And I thought MAVA gets that better with MAVA as they were trying to reach everybody in the Commonwealth.
So the game is coming up. It is the 17th. It is a Friday night, I believe.
Yes.
All right, so everybody, no excuses, you can go out. What you do is, if you go to that link, everybody has, I think Vicki put out a little flyer at your seat that has the QR code. So you can use that. You can get a free ticket using that, and then the other tickets are, I want to say,
$18 to $20.
I was going to say, I think I paid $20 for the other ticket. So, nice night out if you want to go. I don't know if Vicki has anything. Oh, I'm sorry, there is another piece that, yes.
Then, in working with Paul O'Leary in the front office of the Railers, they are putting together the career fair, so you'll see that they've added that component. For everybody that purchased a ticket from 4 to 7, so the puck drop, they do have industry partners coming in and setting up tables and doing a career fair prior to the game. So they're really marketing to all, they want to honor career and tech schools and pathways. We've carried this on to continuing ed and actually got programs as well, but making sure that there's within Worcester County a footprint of industry partners. They're really looking at bringing better partnerships throughout. So there's that piece of it, and the free ticket is thanks to Advanced Trucking and National Grid. They sponsored that ticket for everybody. So by using the link we're providing, that's how you get the free ticket. If you don't want the free ticket, go on through Ticketmaster.
And if you haven't, in all seriousness, if you haven't gone to a Railers game, it's a good take. It's a good time. So you'll enjoy yourself. I think that is it for me.
All right. All right. It's our student rep here.
Unfortunately, they're not.
All right. How about the principal?
I was told to stand on the X. Try not to move. He's like, I put an X on there. But Happy New Year. It's so nice to see everyone. I'm standing up.
Your microphone, he said.
No, she needs to stand where she's standing.
Yes. Are we good? Am I good?
You're good.
This is good? Okay. All right. So Happy New Year, everyone. As you see on the report, I don't know if it's going up on the screen, but just a little update on the VIP session. We just wrapped up session 2. We had a total of 246 students. We have a list of all of our participating towns, and also know that we do have times that students, their towns assigned to a specific session, and due to other scheduled conflicts where the students playing a sport or whatnot, they're unable to attend, and therefore those students then come. So you'll notice there's a total of 31 students that were able to come, because again, we want to allow that flexibility for students that may not be able to come during their assigned time to be able to participate if we have the openings during another session. On that second page, and as I said in the past, if you recall, previously we would have students just randomly attend shop. So students may come here, they're interested in 10 particular programs, and end up just exploring totally different ones during those 4 weeks. Now, Christy Lamy does a nice job of allowing students to actually make a choice of programs they think they're interested in, and works extremely hard with the students to ensure that they're able to explore those programs, assuming we're offering. On the second page of my report, you'll see a list of all the participating programs and our instructors. And I'll tell you, we have many instructors that are taking classes, they have after-school help. I mean, and people are really stepping up. We have parents sometimes that are helping teach some of our VIP, folks from our cafeteria, so it really has been outstanding to be able to have folks from other areas as well join our vocational teachers to make sure that we continue to provide this experience for our sending districts and for our middle schools who are interested in Monty Tech. On the 13th of December, that was an exciting day. We had a half day. It's our half day PD day. There's a list of scheduled PD offerings that we had this year. That was something new, and it's something that we always want to ensure that we are providing PD for different groups of teachers, right? So as you know, our PD model is always not just this is what we're doing and everyone come and sit in an auditorium and this is what we're doing, but really to ensure that our PD opportunities are things that our teachers are looking for and things that are going to satisfy what they're looking for and certainly, assist them with their instructional, strategies and things. One of the new things this year is we had partnered up with Bridgewood State and did a paraprofessional certificate module and really to identify pathways for some of our peers that want to get into education and take some of those courses too. So that was really something neat that was started. As you know, social emotional restorative justice, we did partner up with the assistant superintendent from Montachusett. He had reached out really to look to see what other students, what other schools are doing to ensure that we are providing that training for the students to, as we move into with discipline and consequences as well. AED, CPR, pre-exploratory mentor for success, we just wrapped up training. Every 2 years or so, we try to offer training for our staff who want to become mentors, so that was something we had done at that time. Second half of the, so students were here for the half day. We also did our holiday house, so we do offer a nice little buffet. I think we even had shrimp. I mean, it was wonderful, but it's really just a way for all of our Monty Tech staff to come together to enjoy a wonderful meal. As you know, our cafeteria folks are just outstanding with the food and what they put together, what they provide us. So it's nice for all of us to sit together and enjoy that wonderful meal prior to the PD day.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I just want to say that I did attend that holiday event. I was the only one from this committee. I have to sit down with the teachers and talk to them now. I'm just kidding.
And you enjoyed great food, Bob.
The food was good, but I didn't know that they were hiding the shrimp. I saw it on my way out.
Good, done very well.
December 20th, so we had 2 exciting Fridays. So December 20th, right, the Friday right before school vacation. We started off the morning with our Skills USA. I posted some pictures there too, so you see a little collage of different pictures, but we recognized over 120 students who placed and celebrated those students who will be moving on to the state competitions. The district competitions March 12th. You have a list of all of the students and the awards that they won. And then that afternoon, right before dismissal for the last 40 minutes or so, as you know, we have exceptionally talented academic and vocational teachers in their fields, but also we have a huge musical talent in our school. So once again, I think this was our third year of having a holiday concert where we'll be able to just kind of join in and do a little farewell before the holiday break. So that's always something that's nice to celebrate with our teachers and our students, and they all have. And then the last page is just the calendar of upcoming events. The next document that I want to highlight is just for a program of study. So as you know, every year, Christy, Brian, and Vicki, we work with all the departments, so academic folks, vocational folks, and special education department, school counselors, really to go over our program of studies and talk about what we're offering in our school and just to ensure that everything has been updated. So you didn't have to read through 95 pages. You have a little cheat sheet with just a quick little program of studies edit summary. My apologies if the page numbers are a little bit off. It's just because we have yet, until we do all the proof, we had a lot of strike within this, so the pages are going to move. I didn't want to take the time to do that, or we're going to have to change it. But basically, most of the changes that are on that sheet is either a new course offering, which again, is not something that Abbott sits together and decides, hey, by the way, we're no longer offering this has happened. We look at enrollment, we look at past courses that have been offered, we look at, what are those courses that are being offered in other institutions, and opportunities for growth for students. And then each department works together. So English department will sit together and they'll look at the courses and identify what is something that we need to update or change. what a course is, maybe a new course coming in. So the best thing I always say, if you look on page 16 or 17 on our program of study, you see a list of our academic program chart, and that's a nice little sheet too, where things are highlighted that actually show you, just show you really quick, that actually show you so it's a nice little grid so students can see, like, what are my options, so that's a quick little reference sheet that our school counselors and even our teachers use with their students during course selection time, which will be coming up very shortly. We're going to do a little presentation next week during our faculty meeting and do that. So the one thing, again, updating language, updating courses. Also, as you know, we have our decennial visit for our IDS coming up in spring 2026. That was one of the updates there. And then I'm going to have Christy Baber just give a little update on the MCAS changes. And she's going to talk to you about that.
Yeah, I'll just add to that a little bit, is that Christy's been working a lot with other academic directors, other folks in different schools, because as we've been talking about, everybody is trying to figure out how will we play this out now that question 2 passed and everything else, and MCAS is no longer part of the competency determination. So we had to change a little bit of the language of the program of studies, but I'll let Christy cut it. And that's what you'll find on here in front of you. You should find, these are 2 of the letters. One is for the families if their child is taking the retest, which will be coming up in February, or the kids who are going to be taking the actual full test later on. So when she's referencing the letters, you have these in front of you.
Okay, good evening. Nice to see you all. Happy New Year. So I'm going to talk to you tonight about 2 separate things. I want to make sure that it's clear that MCAS and the actual testing piece is separate. When I'm talking, is separate from the CD requirement. They are 2 different things. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the ballot question. What does that mean for us? The first thing that it means is that our students still have to take MCAS, right? MCAS will count for our accountability. MCAS is a state and state and federal requirement. It's part of the Every Student Succeeds Act federally and state requirements. So all our kids have to sit for it. The second piece is that the students only have to sit once, and so that gets into sort of a cloud of ambiguity where the retest issue has caused some concerning questions. So this past fall in November, we had students take the retest in English and math, and those kids who passed were awarded the CD requirement by the state. For those students who are scheduled, who failed biology MCAS, who are scheduled to take the retake in February, no longer are required to take the retake. Because they've already sat once, they don't need to sit again. However, we chose to provide an option for them if they wanted to take the retake in order to get a better score. And the other piece too is that there is no impact on scholarship opportunities. The John Abigail Adams Scholarship and the Conflict, those are still provided. There's no change there, and there's no change to the seal by literacy. So for those kiddos who want to compete for those things, nothing has changed there. So we do have some students who, for example, were absent on the day of testing, so they qualify for retesting and they are required to test. So if a parent is concerned or worried, my student was not taking, did not fail but was absent, they do have to take the test. So from the state's perspective, the kids have to take it at least once.
Now, if they take the test, do they have to pass it?
No, they don't have to pass it.
Right. So I'm not a proponent of MCAS. I think MCAS is a terrible thing, and I personally, I would love to see it done away with. I think kids get graded, they're tested, they're graded by their teachers. That should be sufficient, been sufficient long ago, and I think MCAS is added stress to the kids. So they don't have to pass, that's all I need. Thanks.
Okay, so there's no opt-out for the kids, they have to take it.
Yeah,
So it's good, okay? And in the letter you'll find that we recommend the kids still give their best effort. We're encouraging the teachers, of course, to tell the kids they need to try. It impacts our accountability level. It impacts our ability to evaluate whether or not, the kids are meeting grade level expectations that are based on standards. It's a very basic test. It's a grade 10 English, math, science level test that is aligned to the standards. So on that front, there's no opt-out. When it comes to the CV policy, I think a lot of conversations in the beginning were around, okay, so the CV policy, what is that, first of all? It's a competency determination, which the state law requires that DESE awards that based on the state testing, and then in addition to graduation requirements that are local, students are allowed to graduate. They're given their certificate. This new law shifts that responsibility to the local districts, to us. So at first, a lot of people were thinking, okay, so that means we don't need to do anything because they just graduate our local graduation requirements and we're good to go. The problem with that is the DESE is highly recommending, and I think requiring, that districts need to create their own policy. It needs to say what subjects exactly, because part of the slippery area here is that some school districts don't offer biology. Some school districts don't offer the subjects that are being tested in as part of their graduation requirements. And it needs to be the subjects that the kids were tested in as of 2023. So we need to do a deep dive into what the requirements are, take a look at our graduation requirements to make sure that we're aligned with our CV requirement. And we need to propose a new policy. And I'm very hesitant to do so. I've started, the model group that I belong to has been sharing drafts of policies. And in some of the policies that I've seen so far, they're not quite capturing the regulation. So I'm concerned that some who are rushing to do it quickly are not going to get it quite right. So in talking with Tom and Diana, I'd like to just slowly evaluate what's coming, and then we can kind of review and just really be thoughtful in this process to make sure we get it right the first time. And I think in a couple of months, we'll have a draft that we can propose to policy. It will be a policy, so it will have to be approved by you all, and then it will have to be publicly posted and shared and so on. So that's a big piece. I think moving forward, the state will have some options. I'm not sure what the state's going to do, but I can tell you I've been in a lot of meetings where there's been discussions on, will there be another assessment? What are we going to do, moving forward? And while they may consider another assessment, I have heard nothing to date about any potential new assessment. What I have heard and been a part of many discussions about Mass 4 and strengthening Mass 4. Mass 4 is the requirements recommended by DESE. They're not required. They're recommendations for years for study, for example, 4 years of English, 4 years of math, and so on. I think statewide, some school districts are going to struggle to meet some of those requirements. So I think it's kind of like the Titanic. It sometimes takes a little while to turn the boat. I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to start looking at that and being more rigorous. I think they're going to revise them and update them. They're going to shake them out. They're going to give us some years to meet. The last time we were evaluated on Mass 4, we met at 100%. So I'm not concerned about us. I am concerned about some other districts, though.
Mr. Campbell?
Yeah, is a lot of the Mass Corps, they're requiring foreign language. Right now, but I know we offer Spanish in the school. Is that part of the graduation requirement from here as well?
We have electives, but we don't require that all kids take Spanish, but we do, it's part of the elective courses that they can take to meet up the total credits.
I was also that in college, they require foreign languages.
Yes.
Yeah. The language requirement is often, most state schools and universities will waive the language requirement for vocational technical students because they understand the amount of courses that students, our students certainly take less electives than a student sitting, in Fitchburg, either one or whatnot, so there's language on there. And the board and I are,
Maybe a couple questions. So the state has been paying for the MCAS testing program for us, or we pay that directly part of when we do the MCAS testing? Or am I misunderstanding that? The paid cost for the test itself?
Yeah, we don't pay.
That's the state.
State, and retakes at all, that's still covered by the state?
Yes.
Has there been messaging that they're going to discontinue that process of providing and having eligible for us to use the MCAS testing?
They're not taking anything away. There's been no
Okay.
discussion of that.
So as far as we know, the MCAS testing will still be there. They're requiring still one of it.
Still have
It's
to
no
take
longer a
it.
graduation
Yes.
requirement.
Yes.
Okay. Can a local venue still use the MCAS testing as a graduation requirement?
Yes.
Or does that fly in conflict with the law?
That's such a great question.
That is the question.
It is the question, because most of the vocational schools that I talked with, and I've been in a room with Rob Curtin, who is the associate commissioner for all of the assessments, most of them are trying to figure out how, and if they can, and it's been approved by Rob, that they can and they will be adding it to their graduation requirements, that MCAS, that the students need to meet a certain level, or meet expectations, or whatever it might be. And Rob Curtin has also said, do not add it to the CD requirement. So he's been very worried about school districts, making sure that they don't do that piece, but that it's perfectly acceptable to add it to the graduation requirement.
So you'll still need some other form of methodology for the CD requirement. You can't, and the reason for not recommending using that, even though that is the historical, is why?
So the CD requirements, so meeting the CD requirement would include coursework that needs, for us to be, for Mass 4. So it would be what we currently have. So if you look at, I think it's page 6, it has a list on the bottom of the page of all the courses that are required for the graduation requirement. And so the language that meets the statute is related to coursework, page 6. Yeah, so we just have to include, there's a list of criteria for ACD policy that includes, our graduation requirements, meets those requirements. There is a piece in there about a retro process for students, and I believe it goes back to 2023. If a student did not graduate because of not passing MCAS and the CD requirement, they could apply to have a transcript review. And that's something that they're encouraging school districts to include in their policy. There's a couple other things that they want to see included as well. I did ask if they were going to submit a model policy for school districts to take a look at to see, sort of what they recommend. They won't be doing that probably until after the school year is over, but they're encouraging all of us to have that done before the student graduates.
And the reason I spoke when Eric asked the question about local decisions choosing to use MCAS, the conversation that we're hearing is that there likely will be lawsuits. That the question spoke to MCAS shouldn't count as a graduation requirement, and splitting hairs between whether it's the state saying you have to take MCAS or the local entity. So we don't know what's going to happen, but that's kind of what the conversation is that's happening right now.
So if I was allowed to take the MCAS test, and I know for a fact that Massachusetts voted it down, and they said, all right, you guys got to do the MCAS. All right. I don't think I'm going to put my serious effort into that. So
that is a concern.
Yeah. No.
No reward.
But the scholarship, the John and Abigail scholarship is quite the reward, right? I mean, at some level, right? That's,
Yeah, the last several years, we've had more than 85 kids qualify, and all the way up to, I think, 125 of our students qualify for scholarships. So actually, that's just the Adams Scholarship alone. So really well worth DESI's perspective, the kids in the younger grades, you know, so it's a test, they're gonna go in, they're gonna just do their very best, and it's a diagnostic tool to help them as well, so. Thank you.
I just have a question. It's not about what she was just talking about, but it's about the program of studies updates, like just about what something meant. So there was a part, let me get back to it. It's for pages 35 and 37, and it's talking about the social studies electives changing. We'll shift to college prep, removing honors and CP2, goals to lower special education percentages in classrooms and provide better access for students. Very little difference in current levels. And then it says DESI encourages a shift towards more evidence-based course descriptions, removing honors. So could you explain what that means?
So, the main focus for DESI is that we are choosing evidence-based programming for our students. And it's present in almost every, it was present in a meeting I had with the state today. It's in every single thing that they put out. They don't, and I'll give you an example. For years and years, I taught honors, many teachers taught honors for years, kids took honors classes, and the problem with an honors class is that it varies based upon teachers, right? And what DESI is saying, there needs to be equity in classes. The assessment should be the same, although style of instruction will shift from teacher to teacher. Ultimately, the assessment should be the same. And that is not the case for honors, from school to school, within the school, from district to district. But there is, you know, for the past 12 years, we've been slowly shifting from honors to AP. So for the upper level classes, that shift is happening as an evidence-based successful program globally, federally, and then for us, we've had a lot of success with our program. So as far as advanced programming, that's the reason for that.
So the idea is to still have advanced placement, because I see the addition of some because of evidence-based, but then with other course, and will that be shifting with other subject areas, not just social studies, that eventually there will be a move for here at the school to have just a level, not, it's essentially, that's what I'm saying, just having non-leveled course is what you're saying, like you might have in a college, right?
So we're starting with those electives.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are electives, so it's important to know that.
Okay.
We do have levels in the other, in the core classes. And many of us feel it's important to have those levels. However, there are many schools that have shifted away from that CP2 level, most in fact, because of limiting access, for the special ed students, ESLs and so on. And typically you're looking at inclusion, it's not technically, you're putting a lot of the kids in the same spot, and there really should be more, better access should be spread out a little bit, our numbers should be down so that the special ed teachers have a chance to have access. But to answer your question, I think in relation to the Mass Core question earlier, I think that might be one area where the state will say, it does say, if you look at the Mass Core sheet, right at the bottom, it says that these courses of study must be completed in 1 year. So the thing that I'm concerned about is that we'll have to switch to, instead of doing biology over 2 years, or math over 2 years, that we're going to have to do it all in 1 year. And I worry about our kids in all our subgroups performing well, because they do very well with this 2-year period. So I think that, if anything, will push us to have to do that.
Thank you.
Mr. Olson?
I guess as a follow-on to that, when we're thinking about the course structuring, and I mean, how much of that ties to, the percentage of our students that go on to college, and, some of that is evaluated in their transcripts as well, right? So the fact that your electives are honors versus CP2 if there isn't an AP course. And I know that most colleges that we're closely tied to understand our curriculum probably better than our students do around what course levels they're at. But if our target is to start merging them more into a broader group, it would seem to be that I don't know, maybe the grading structure then supports that, but I just don't know how you think about that when you're structuring that.
And Eric, I know mine goes up, something to keep in mind too, I know that there are schools, many schools have moved away from ranking, when you look at the GPA is a GPA, it doesn't matter what level the student's taken. The rank, the level of the course, right, has, helps us come up with a rank. Where our students rank here sitting at Montachusett, when our students are applying to their colleges are recalculating GPAs for students, okay? So they're taking those 4 classes, so it does look very different. So that's less concerning for us at that point because I think that's a conversation that we will soon be having. I mean, other than identifying who our speakers are going to be at graduation, it kind of becomes bragging rights. And we do have scholarships that say we want the students to be in the 10% of the class and whatnot, but that's also, I think, a discussion that we're going to have, and we've started sort of having to sort of remedy that as well, too. So, but you're right, where a student would have taken that level, that's where the core classes, even in social studies, are remaining with the different levels. The other thing, and as Chrissy said about access and equity too, we do, once in a while, we have 1 or 2 sections of course, and that's the only course we're offering due to the amount of students that chose that course. And then we sort of gridlock our students, where if they have related period 4, and we're offering that class only that period, then the students aren't even able to take that course, right? And there are times that we do have to place students in that upper level. And we have outstanding teachers that are teaching to the levels of the students. So the difference, I think, often those levels is just really like the sequencing, right, of what they're doing in the course. But our teachers are very well trained, and with the pre-AP and AP, as Chrissy said earlier, there's also so much training. We're working really hard to ensure that we're sending teachers to do the training too, and that's something that they're bringing back. And those are strategies you're learning. It's like, the big push with all, making sure that every teacher is SCI endorsed, right? We did that, years ago. I mean, there's so many strategies to do that are not only useful for English language learners, but for all students. It's just another way of teaching and manipulating them and what we're doing and using those strategies. They're beneficial for all learners too. So I think there's a lot to learn as we go through that. So any other questions on the program of studies?
Mr. Broussard was,
You mentioned that the core courses were going to remain level,
Yes.
and those levels are,
So we have an advanced level.
which is
So advanced would be AP or an honors.
AP or honors.
Yeah, CP4 is college prep, and then CP2 is a little bit more support in those classes.
So for someone who thinks I want to be a mechanic when I graduate Montachusett, I don't need to take calculus. I want to take a business math, or maybe I want to take a basic math. That would be a
So
CP2.
we do, it's not designed by career choice, it's designed based on skill. So we test the kids, and then we look at, we look at their placement testing, we look at recommendations, we look at their middle school transcripts, we look at recommendations from counselors, and then we meet with, with the teachers, and, as they go through the grades, how are they doing? If a student is performing at a college prep level, then we're going to put them in a CP4, because that's where they belong. You don't ever want to put a kid in a CP2 class who doesn't need that support. They really need to be placed to their ability level.
So the leveling is, I was thinking of the offering maybe is different for someone who doesn't want a college prep.
Yeah, so we would never put a student, for example, somebody who definitely wants to be a mechanic, and really a strong college, a CP4 student, maybe qualifies for an advanced class. We would never put them in unless they selected it. The advanced courses are really optional for those kids. If they don't want it, we don't force them. It's optional.
So we effectively have 3 levels for the core courses.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Brooks.
Yes, thank you. So technically, I'm still in my first year on the committee. So evidence-based course description, what is that?
So you're talking about the social studies?
It just says evidence, yes, evidence-based course descriptions within the
Yeah.
social studies piece.
I think that's to social studies. The advanced, so the AP, the shifting from honors to more advanced AP courses. AP is certified, DESE supports it. There's a ton of data out there that AP classes, the students are successful. If they're successful there, then later on when they go to college, they're even more successful in college because of that rigorous course that they took in high school.
So the evidence-based means that they're
There's evidence to prove success.
success at a future level.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
and I want to keep saying, right, college and career level, right? Because our students, even if they perhaps don't need to continue on and further their education at a college setting, but we still want to maybe become an estimator. They want to be able to speak properly, to be able to write well, to communicate well, and those are all the skills that our students will have moving on from Montachusett, and not tracking them based on, this is what I want to be when I grow up, because at 14 years old, we know that that may change. But really ensuring that we continue to challenge the students at the level they're at. And Bill, at some point, if you look at that chart, as I mentioned earlier, on page 16, 17, you can see there the sequence of the courses too, depending on when the students start too, and the options in classes, once in a while we have a kid who say, oh, you know what, I've been taking these difficult math classes, I think I'm going to step it down a notch. Well, no, we're not going backwards, right? So, and there's a ton, again, with support with our counselors and folks really to really move forward and ensure that we are recommending the students for what's best suited for them. And certainly we often will recommend students in health occupations to take anatomy and physiology because it makes sense, right? We have students that are taking physics that are going to, so we want to make sure that that's happening too along the way too, based on what their goal is and student interest as well. So.
And we should emphasize the courses that folks don't know, the social studies electives are only seniors.
Half a year.
And it's only a semester course.
Yes.
So even though I fully agree, and I know that Ms. Schmidt would agree with me, that history is the most important course you should ever take, former history teacher, it's not, this is not an expansive change that's affecting every student and everything else, just so everybody understands.
Any other question from studies? Yeah? Okay. And then the last thing, obviously, that you have there are just your monthly.
Excuse me, we need vote.
Oh,
Sorry.
vote for this, yes.
Program of studies.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move that the district committee vote to approve the program of studies for the 2025-2026 school year as submitted.
Second.
So, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, let's call the vote. You all set, Tammy?
Yep, it should be popping up.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
From here, it looks like it passed unanimously.
Yes.
All right. So the enrollment report, Diane?
Enrollment reports, again, your monthly annual reports are there for you to view. Bob, do you have questions?
Maybe a question for Vicki here. As I look through these towns, I know some of these towns have parochial schools. Fitchburg, St. Bernard's, Gardner, is it Holy Family? When they apply to the school, are they counted as part of the Gardner and part of Fitchburg?
Correct.
St. Bernard's, part of Fitchburg?
Yes.
What if they have a different address,
Where
though?
they live there for their primary residence. So although they might attend St. Bernard's, they
Yeah.
might be from,
Let's say from Westminster.
and then they count towards Westminster.
Okay, so only Fitchburg kids from St. Bernard's that lives in Fitchburg is counted for
Where
Fitchburg.
they lay their hat, where they
All right.
reside.
I just wanted to know that, make sure they're not cutting in, that's
No,
all.
that's a good question.
Thank you.
All right, anything else?
Yeah, sure, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a
Not-
great night.
Personnel, we have a retirement, Mr. Brown?
Yes, Ms. Carlson and I, very sad that unfortunately the principal secretary, Ms. LaFallum, after a long
Oh, my
career here at
goodness.
Monty Tech, is going to be retiring.
I'm so excited for her, but what a huge loss. The woman is amazing. Amazing.
She deserves to have some time to
Maybe
go
I
out.
can still convince her. Oh my God, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Resignations.
Yeah, so Ms. Woodliff, who's done a really nice job with our continuing education program, is going to be headed off to Pathfinder. If you remember, Brian Rigi is our former vocational director, is now principal over there, and they work very closely over here, so I think they're going to have a nice partnership over there. We wish them the best. One of our custodians, Wayne Lehman, resigned, and then Rachel Law was just an assistant teacher at Child Care Center.
Question on the resignation. Regarding the director of continuing ed,
Yep.
why would she go in mid-year and not finish up the program? I'm just curious.
I think she just had this opportunity. I don't want to necessarily speak for her. So I can't necessarily say exactly what her motivation was.
So I noticed that this has been advertised for a new
Yeah.
position? You
Yeah.
got some candidates in line?
Oh, yeah, we got more of applicants for this position that are actually very good and qualified than we would get for a math teacher or a science teacher these days. So we feel good about that.
We didn't scare her away at last meeting.
I don't know, maybe that's what it was. Yeah, no, I don't think that was it. No, she's been thinking about this for a while.
And we have one appointment.
Yes, so we did have, an instructor leave back in, I think it was November, but Jay Coleman, Montachusett grad, always great to have somebody come back, has started on Monday, as a matter of fact. So.
All right. Okay, subcommittees, policy, Ms. Swenson?
I hope everybody enjoys the fact that you don't have policies that you have to read tonight. But trust me, it's coming next month. There are notes here from our November meeting. However, we did not have a December meeting for a bunch of reasons. So they have not been approved, but they will be approved at our next meeting next week.
Thank you. Capital improvements,
Nothing to report at this time.
workforce, Mr. Olson.
We have not met, no report yet. We will be meeting soonish.
We're going to be hearing from the finance committee soon.
You're asking for that update too now?
Well, are we going to be starting the budget?
Yeah, so for finance planning, we're, as Mr. Brown mentioned, he emailed today, maybe it was yesterday, not sure, checking my emails, about getting that, we have a joint meeting planned that we need to set and schedule with capital, and capital, yeah.
Yep.
And we have to kick off sort of budget season with the new subcommittee, so here
Very
shortly when I
excited.
look
We're looking forward to it.
when I look at calendars, I guess, so.
All right.
But we haven't met on either.
Student advisory, Mr. Barber will be assuming the chairmanship there. Unfortunately, he's under the weather today, so he couldn't be here tonight. But we would expect to be scheduling a meeting of that committee pretty soon. School committee graduation gift.
Yes, we won't have a meeting until April,
Okay.
according to the guidelines.
All right.
At this time, I think it's $550.
Yes.
We have $550 in the fund, awaiting more donations. And at the April meeting, we'll decide how many gifts that we're going to be taking,
All right.
given out. That's it for now.
How's the dance going?
Oh, the dance? Well, I completed a review of the songs that we're going to have. I have passed them out to the committee members to get their input. I was hopefully speaking with the committee members after this meeting for about 3 or 4 minutes to see what times are available for them to participate in an actual meeting towards the end of this month.
All right. Okay, financial statements, any questions on the financials? Seeing none. Donation?
Move the recommendation.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve the donation from Guy Santos, approximate value of $2,000. Can you call the question? Why doesn't it come up here?
There it is.
Ooh, there it is.
I don't have it.
All right. You all set, Tammy?
Yep, should be coming up.
Oh, looks unanimous to me. Acceptance of grant.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the Adults with Disabilities Grant for $132,900. Call the question. You're getting pretty good at this, Tammy.
I could never replace Julie.
All right. All set?
Yep, should be coming up.
Okay, that looks unanimous. Communications. Teacher information or proposals. I don't see any teachers here. So. School committee chairman report. Few things. I attended the charting of the course that was held here December 7th, and I was pleased that our new members, Evelyn, Ashley, and Shelley, also attended and got their certificates. So if you haven't done it yet, I advise you to do it. It's a very valuable course. At the last meeting, there was a motion made from the floor that was not part of the agenda. The school committee policy is that if you wish to place an item on the agenda, you need to let us know 7 days before. And the reason for that is it could have implications regarding the open meeting law. And it's also not fair to your members to not give them advance notice of something that you would like. Subcommittees, just a friendly reminder, you are all subject to the open meeting law the same as the school committee. You need to post your meetings and your agenda in advance. You need to provide written minutes of your meetings. And you should also forward those to Tom or Julie so we can include them as part of the meeting here. And again, once more, I expect to have the Student Advisory Committee meeting soon. I will be talking to Mr. Barber about that and getting that going. Any school committee information or proposals? Mr. Hurley?
I had a question about, you said that there was an item that was voted on at the last meeting?
That's my understanding.
What happens to that now?
Well, it happened.
We voted on it inappropriately, but it's still...
It's still part of the
Parliamentary
record.
procedure, you can still do it.
Yeah.
We can still carry it.
Anything else? Any informational proposals? If not, school committee comments? Anybody wish to make a comment? Or Mr. Olson?
Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you.
I guess one thing I had hoped to see in our program of studies, but maybe didn't get there this year, but I'll hold out hope for next year, is maybe our digital essentials course or some of the other courses will start to do something about AI. I'm not going to stop talking about this. I think this is something that this school should be leading on and would be happy to see in goals for a superintendent maybe coming up here. So just a forewarning of things to come for me.
Donnie and Ed had a conversation. We met with some folks that, I don't want to, they are leading AI, certainly in the region and everything else. We're meeting with them to have a formal meeting. I don't remember what days. I was going to say the next couple of weeks. So we're going to try to start putting together what we will at least see as a framework maybe of some sort of policy or something like that and see where we can go from there. So I feel we had a really nice conversation. I appreciated that he acknowledged that there's not a lot of folks who are taking this pathway, but he sees it as his job as to get people to start going. So that's what our hope is to do now.
We
So I
are
was-
already
you-
way
you were-
behind.
you were in my ear
We're
when you
already
said-
way behind our students
Yeah.
who have questions and
Yeah.
want to know how and what they can use it for and how they should be using it well. And we need to be teaching them the right usage and citizenship and expectations. And they're going to learn it way faster than anybody here. They already have, and we're already behind.
Yes, sir.
There was nothing said tonight about admissions policy. I'm assuming we're just in a holding pattern at this point?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, the technical the technical clarification would be is the BESE still has its subcommittee. They haven't met since early December, I think. They're still, so that's really what we're waiting for, is we're letting to see what happens from that subcommittee.
Yeah, the superintendent and I had a conversation about this issue, and it will be ongoing as part of his monthly report. Anything else? Yes, sir.
I still would like to mention, I'd like to meet the dance committee members after the meeting.
All right. Mr. Hurley?
No.
Oh, I thought you were.
I will say, since we are meeting as a committee, the dance committee, I think it would behoove us not to at least recognize the fact that today would have been the 90th birthday of Elvis Presley. And that's why I'm wearing dark colors tonight. Thank you.
So Elvis and John share the same birthday?
Very simple. Well, let me say that I really appreciate the birthday because, quite honestly, there was a time last summer where I didn't know if I was going to be around for it.
You're just a hunk of burning love.
But only the good die young, so I think I can. All right, any other business? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn? We did. Okay, all right, all